Good morning and welcome back to the Broadcast Retirement Network. This is BRN AM for Tuesday, September 24th, 2019. Here are your top stories for Tech Tuesday. Drones are finally coming to retail, and Americans have big plans for their holiday gifts. They're returning them. Earlier this year, Amazon added one-day shipping. Now Walgreens is adding drones. Joining me now to discuss, Senior Technology and Consumer Products Reporter from the Motley Fool, Daniel Kline. Well, Dan, welcome to the program.
Hey, Jeff. Thanks for having me.
Well, it's great. You know, Technology Tuesday, and you obviously come up and talk about technology. So in my lead-in, I talked about drones now apparently are going to be making deliveries. So what can you tell us there?
So drones are either going to be the biggest thing ever, and you're going to get food and small items. You know, you're in desperate need for paper towels. A drone's going to fly through your window and bring you them, or nothing is going to happen because it's very technically complicated to figure out how the logistics of drone delivery will work. But the first step of that, really the first public step of that, is going to be Walgreens offering delivery in one town in Virginia, Christiansburg, Virginia, on about 100 items or 6 different packs. So like if you have the flu, you won't be able to get your prescription, but you'll be able to get maybe your Kleenex and your over-the-counter drugs, maybe throat lozenges, whatever it is, in a sort of pre-done pack. It's a very small test, and it's in partnership with Google's Wing. So this is really the first step where we're going to see how people react to drones. Are they going to be batting them down out of the sky with baseball bats, or is this going to go smoothly and expand into other places?
So we've got approval from the Federal Aviation Administration, is that correct? And so assuming, how long is this pilot program for, I guess?
So they haven't said how long it's going to be for, but I think the reality is there's very little tolerance. We've talked about this on other shows, that if 3 in every 100 car trips result in an accident when people are driving, we might consider that sort of normal and acceptable, but the acceptable rate for automated driving is 0, and I think that's kind of the standard for drones. I mean, you know, if you order a pizza, there's like a reasonable chance it's going to come and the cheese is going to be all stuck to the top of the box, and like the guy let it jostle around too much in the car. There's not 100% success rate. In fact, I would say with ordering food, I've got about a 75-80% success rate of getting my whole order correct and hot and all the things you'd expect. I think this drone test is going to have to show absolute 100% for a period of multiple months. It's also going to have to deal with, are there going to be neighborhood complaints? Are these loud? Are they a spectacle that's fun once but kind of annoying in the long term? So this is really a very tiny, very controlled test that could become the blueprint for the whole rest of the country.
Well, by the way, I think Domino's now offers pizza insurance. So I haven't had a Domino's pizza in a while. I'm sure it's very good, but you can certainly insure some food deliveries at least. Dan, what's the impact? Let's assume that this goes well, and I want you to give us the retail impact, and then let's talk a little bit about consumer spending, because as you know and have reported, Amazon went to one-day shipping, which I guess people wanted. Or will be going to one-day shipping, and people want that. So what is the impact to retail for this, and then on consumers?
So I think in a lot of ways this is a gimmick, because how often do you really need something within an hour that you can't just go and get? Other than, a very few products. If you have a baby and the baby's sick, maybe you need diapers immediately and you can't leave the house. I get that. But this is just one cog in sort of the automation of last mile delivery. I think a bigger part is going to be automated vans and robots making the actual door delivery, because that's very expensive. So this will be a tool. And in a less populated area, like for example, my family has a home in Jaffrey, New Hampshire, and it's pretty rural. The closest grocery store is 5 or 6 miles down the road, which is where the CVS is. It's not illogical to think we might want some things and a drone might be the best way to do it, especially because the roads aren't that great and it's always winter. But this is going to be one very small piece. Because again, I live in the story building. How is the drone? Is it going to knock on my window? Is it going to leave it on my deck? Like, there's a lot to be worked out here. And I don't think we're going to see skies filled with drones because they're limited. They can only carry so much. So it's absolutely great if you've been stung by a bee and need some itch medicine and are uncomfortable and don't want to go to the store and get it. This is not going to be a practical way to shop for, say, groceries.
Yeah, and then also on the consumer, do you think that the consumer out there is really looking at this as another way to get goods quicker, or is it kind of like the one-day delivery where, does it really matter or not? Because I'm thinking about consumer debt here. I'm thinking about people spending more than they have, and they're like, oh yeah, I need some X, Y, and Z, and then all of a sudden it floats in 20 minutes later.
So, in my opinion, this has to be a premium charge because it really should be for the things you absolutely need but forgot about. You have a migraine and you don't have Advil in the house. This is going to be a great way to get that, and you'll pay a premium for it. What I worry about is Amazon gave me one-day shipping, which I don't need, don't particularly want, and somewhere that has to be paid for. It was, 800 and something million they estimated in their initial run-up to do that. Why are they spending all that money? That might result in higher prices because they can't charge more for delivery. So as a consumer, I'm really thinking about how I order things. Amazon offers a deal where you can get all your Amazon deliveries in one day. Now I have Prime, so that's not necessary, but there are weeks where I do that anyway, because do I really want to go to my front desk 7 times a week to make the guy there go get my one package when it's nothing essential? So you really, as a consumer, have to watch. Like, I use Instacart. Instacart charges more. It'll say right on the Publix website, the prices are higher for Instacart than they are in store. Now that's valuable to me. If you and I are taping a show, I'm really busy with work, I don't have time to go to the grocery store and I want to make dinner, I might make enough money by not going to the store to offset that. But I don't have a typical work situation. For the average person, you have to weigh, am I being lazy, and is this worth the money? Now, that said, Walmart does not charge extra, they say, but does that force the price of everything in Walmart up 0.5%? Maybe it does. So be very careful with consumers and pushing towards these sort of unnecessary conveniences.
Yeah, absolutely. Dan, you're going to stick around for the next segment, and we're going to shift gears. I can't believe this, but we're actually going to talk about holiday plans. So everyone, sit tight, Dan, and we'll be right back after this commercial break. And when we come back, Technology Tuesday rolls along. Dan's going to stick around because we're going to shift gears and talk about, get this, holiday shopping and Americans' big plans for their holiday gifts. Stay tuned right here on BRN AM. Imagine a new television network that will make you richer, healthier, and in control of your financial future. This network is for the policewoman in Nashville, Tennessee, the baker in Dubuque, Iowa, the teacher in Lexington, Kentucky. We want to make the idea of savings and retirement culturally relevant. But what do you see as a defining issue of the midterms? Especially for the smaller businesses. I mean, they are the lifeblood of the American economy. Featuring exclusive interviews, current affairs, and docuseries. 33 years old, you retired early.
The philosophy is money only matters if it helps you live a life that you love.
But you got to start thinking about retirement as soon as you get in.
The Broadcast Retirement Network will drive very high engagement with premium partnerships. So this isn't retirement and savings for your parents or grandparents. This is for all Americans. And we're going to change the way you think about money. Welcome to the next frontier of retirement and savings. This is BRN, the Broadcast Retirement Network. Welcome back. It's hard to believe that we're actually shifting gears and talking about the holiday season, but Americans apparently have big plans for their holiday gifts, and sticking around with us is the Motley Fool's Dan Kline. Dan, thanks for staying around.
Thanks for having me. And Jeff, I'm going to send you the list of what I want for Christmas so we can avoid the next problem.
Well, absolutely, because I think you just wrote about this, and it really boggles the mind. Here it is, September 24th, and we're already talking about the holidays and Christmas plans. So tell us a little bit about what people are thinking about and recent survey results. I think Oracle just released a survey.
Yeah, so this absolutely stunned me. Now, I'm a pretty good gift giver. I like to think I make notes all year about things my wife or my mother or my son say, and like I give pretty thoughtful gifts. I know that maybe everyone else in my family doesn't, so I try to very blatantly tell my son what I want so he can pass that on to my wife. Or I remember occasions where I've literally held something up and said, "Boy, I wouldn't buy this for myself, but I'd like to have it." Those hints don't always work, and that ties into the results of this Oracle survey, where they found that, and this number is astonishing to me, 77% of people enter the holiday season assuming they're going to return gifts. And that doesn't mean that they're just looking for the cash. It means they have very little faith that the people who are buying them gifts are going to give them things they want.
So is this more or less like spray and pray, where people maybe they're not doing as much planning and therefore spending money on behalf of someone, and the person just doesn't want it and they're going to return the item?
So I think this ties to a bigger problem with families and money. Now, you might not know what like your third cousin you got in the family gift grab is into, and that's reasonable because that's not someone you're going to talk money about. So maybe you send an email to their significant other or someone else to find out, like, thoughtfully what they would like. That's the right thing to do. But most couples don't talk about money. It's a very taboo subject, and it's really something that should be discussed before you get married, when you get married, every couple of months. You should know where our finances are and figure out if your goals are aligned. This year, my wife and I, as I mentioned, it's our anniversary. It's our 19th anniversary. Mentioned to you driving. Thank you. We made a decision that we weren't going to do much in the way of gifts this year because we replaced the floor in our house. We got new furniture because the old furniture looked shabby with the new floor, and we unexpectedly had to do a roof on our vacation home. So we got our very modest gifts for our anniversary, and we will carry that through to our birthdays, which are 8 days apart. Mine October 16th, hers October 8th, and then we'll reevaluate at Christmas. Maybe by Christmas we'll be, sort of replenish the coffers, and it'll be time to buy something decent. But we have those discussions. What's logical? What can we afford? Do we feel the need for a gift when we just bought a new sofa we're both very excited about? I know that seems silly, a sofa, but we're really excited about it. So you have to have those discussions, and both of you have to be big enough to understand that if it's not a year you can afford a new boat or $1,000 handbag or a trip, then you have to make the decision that that's the year you just exchange cards and have a nice meal and revel in the company. And that can be a tough discussion to have with kids, especially. Hey, I'm sorry, the holidays, Christmas, Hanukkah, whatever it is, they're not going to be that big this year. But that's much better than sort of just like taking a stab at gifts. I mean, I can't tell you how many people send my son Amazon gift cards. And it's not that those aren't appreciated, but they really just go into like a communal fund and we buy stuff all year. Like, better to send him a small thing that he actually wants than to sort of send a grand gesture that just becomes like, another gift card in the pile.
Let me ask you a question. What's the impact put your retailer hat on? Black Friday is a big, Christmas shopping, holiday shopping is a big deal for retailers. People are going to be returning goods, supposedly. What does it mean for the retailer out there, whether it's by email, whether it's directly to the store?
So it's a sales opportunity, and my personal retail experience is different, and this is where I think retailers fail. I spent 2 years running the largest toy store in the Northeast, and we prided ourselves on when a new person walked in, they were almost always buying for someone who was a regular customer of the store. There was a decent chance we knew the customer, but at the worst case scenario, we would work with the grandparent, the parent, whoever it was, to really figure out the personalized gift, what that person would want. And the only returns we tended to get were things where either they didn't listen to us or two of us gave that advice to two different people in the same family and the kid got a duplicate or the adult got a duplicate. But your regular retail store, you're getting very little personalized sales help. They don't know their customers. Mostly you're picking something off a rack, so sizing is going to be wrong. A lot of things are going to be wrong. So January 1st or wherever return season start is a huge opportunity, because I come into the store with somebody got me a medium sweater with a reindeer on it, and I don't in any way want that, and I'm certainly not a medium. And I go back to the store. Not only do they have the opportunity to sell me a new sweater, assuming I want a sweater in the first place, living in Florida, and yes, I got sweaters last year. Um, that's an opportunity to sell me more. If they could put more stuff in front of me, and that's something that good retailers embrace and struggling retailers are having a challenge with. If you look at, say, a JCPenney, they have trouble keeping the shelves filled for Christmas. So are they going to be able to invest in having impulse items for January 3rd? I don't think so. So you're going to see the strong get stronger. Macy's is going to do really well with this. Best Buy is going to do really well with this. They're going to sell you 6 accessories for the thing you returned and bought the one you actually wanted for. Whereas struggling retailers are going to end up with returns and gift cards that become somewhat worthless when they go out of business.
Yeah, I totally agree. It's going to, it's just another example where technology first forces innovation. Dan, I don't know, I want to say Merry Christmas to you or Happy Holidays. I mean, here it is, September 24th, but really appreciate you joining us on Tech Tuesday. We'll talk to you again at the end of the week on the podcast, and then again back on the network. Thanks so much for joining us today.
I was going to say Happy Rosh Hashanah is really the closest we have.
That's true. Thanks, buddy. Take care.
Thank you.
And folks, that wraps up this episode of BRN AM. Like I always say, have a financial topic or someone of interest you think we should interview? Drop us a line. And don't forget, for more news and headlines, check out today's edition of The Morning Pulse. So until tomorrow, keep on saving, and don't forget, roll with the changes.